Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm Dr. Rogers here in Lagos. We begin in Chad, where the Foreign Minister Abdoumani Koulibaly has described a foiled attack on the presidential compound as an amateur operation which posed no real threat to the government, despite initial concerns that sparked gunfire in the capital. Speaking at a news conference, Mr. Koulibaly said the attackers, armed with machetes, knives, and medieval-style spiked weapons with balls, killed one guard and stabbed others before entering the compound. According to him, the altercation lasted between 30 to 45 minutes and no special security measures were in place around public buildings, indicating the government's confidence in containing the situation. Meanwhile, the prosecutor's office in Chad has classified the foiled attack as a serious crime involving murder, conspiracy, and an attempt to undermine state security. The prosecutor, Umar Kadilai, said 24 assailants traveling in a vehicle staged the breakdown near the compound to ambush guards at the gate. The attackers killed 2 soldiers and seriously injured 5 others before attempting to breach the facility. Security forces responded, killing 18 attackers and detaining 6 who were injured and hospitalized. The incident comes at a tense time for Chad, which recently ended its defense pact with France and faces security challenges in the Sahel region, where Islamist militant groups are active. Calm has returned to N'Djamena, and investigations are underway to identify all instigators, perpetrators, and their accomplices. Police presence has also been increased around the city. Away from Chad, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has accused the Democratic Republic of Congo of derailing a summit planned for December in Rwanda aimed at ending fighting in Congo's east. The meeting between Mr. Kagame and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi was scheduled for December 15 after months of negotiations. Mr. Kagame told the press conference that Congo repeatedly rejected agreed-upon positions. The summit was expected to result in a deal to end the almost 3-year M23 insurgency in eastern Congo. Mr. Kagame said he supported continued peace efforts but insisted they must address the issue of anti-Kigali FDLR rebels based in Congo.
What was more important? The meeting did not happen because, again, it wasn't the appearance there that was the most important thing. It was what was taking us there and how it is being addressed that was more important. The summit was to take place. There had been technical people meeting, discussing, and ministers meeting, DRC, Rwanda, and Angola. The technical people would agree things, and then it comes to ministers, what the technical people agreed, half of it is rejected. Then there was insistence, no, we must go there and sign, and sign something. Not even to have another discussion, because I don't think there was even need for that to happen. So that's what killed the summit. So it's not Rwanda that killed the summit, it's actually DRC.
Let's get more on this. Joining us to talk about it is Honorary Chairperson, Congolese Diaspora in Nigeria, Dr. Via Kanwangi. Dr. Kanwangi is speaking to us virtually from Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital here in Nigeria. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being in this program. Thank you very much.
Right. So what are the Congolese authorities saying about President Kagame's claim?
Yeah, I don't think that there is any official, response from either the President Tshisekedi, His Excellency Felix Antoine Tshisekedi, or from the Foreign Minister of our country of DRC. But it's very easy for you to deduct the mind of the DRC officials, over what happened, because the President Felix Tshisekedi has severally during his is going now around seeing the project in the country and is meeting with the population. So while meeting with the population, he has said his mind over what happened, on the 15th of December in Rwanda, where President Paul Kagame is supposed to be there, and then he himself and the mediator, who is the president of Angola. So you could see that what the President Kagame is saying is just, to me, is a lack of courtesy, is a lie, because on the 15th of December, the President Tshisekedi was there in Rwanda, President Lorenzo was there, but President Kagame did not go, simply. So the failure of this peace talk that is mediated by President Lorenzo in Angola was simply, I can say, not being respected by President Kagame. So what he's saying, that is a lack of will from the DRC, is completely false, very false.
In your opinion, was the deal breaker that made the talks not hold?
Yes, you see, what really break the deal is because before such, you could have known already that there were so many meetings before then. The foreign ministers of DRC, the minister of Rwanda, also foreign minister, they met severally before they could arrive in them meeting. That's the two presidents, president of DRC, President Felix Tshisekedi, and then President Kagame, to meet in Rwanda so that they can actually sign a protocol for peace to actually be at the eastern part of the country. So it's simple. It's simply that the President Tshisekedi cannot talk with the M23, because M23, if it's existing, okay, why is Rwanda coming to the peace talk? So if actually M23 is not backed by the Rwandan defense forces, you could see that severally there are a lot of reports from the United Nations missions to show the presence of the RDF in Congo. And then this war is just an economic war. We don't have any direct conflict with Rwanda. There is no direct conflict. There is no claim of anyhow for the war to be there. It's just imposed to us, very unfortunately. And then now to solve it, there are so many claims, so many lies, I can say, just to justify the presence of the Rwandan troops in Congo. So the failure of this is asking the authorities of DRC to have a peace talk with M23, which is a terrorist group, and then that is unacceptable for President Felix Tshisekedi, which he cannot do. He cannot talk with directly with the M23, which is they are terrorists, and then you prefer to talk with the Rwanda, who are actually invading our eastern part of the country just to get our mineral resources, and is documented by so many journalists, and then also reports of United Nations.
Right, and talks to end M23 insurgency in Congo with Mr. Paul Kagame mediating does seem to show that he has some pull with the group. What do you think?
No, but he can mediate. He himself, President Paul Kagame, cannot mediate between Congo, DRC, and M23. It's not possible. How can you mediate when you are yourself, you are part of the problem? So the mediation we are talking about here is the mediation that that was initiated in the process of peace taken in Rwanda, mediated by President Lorenzo. So President Kagame has no a mandate from anybody, from any organization, not even any initiative for him to be able to mediate between the M23, which is himself, which is Rwanda itself, because even lately, if you follow what is going on, the RDF, which is the Rwanda Defense Forces, are the one actually fighting. So M23 is nothing. I will give you an example to tell you why M23 is actually nothing. So at the time of President Kabila, when M23 were fighting, and then they took Goma to now push to a peace deal. Why is it that you are a Congolese, and then you claim to be a Congolese? You fight because you don't agree on some principles. So by the time now you won, in the signing of the treaty of the peace, you are asking that some of the position in the armies should be taken by the Rwandan. So that alone will tell you that this war is not Congolese who are behind it. It's actually Rwanda that is in our soil, and they just want to control, the eastern part of the country. As what President Paul Kagame says sometimes, he said that Rwanda has some land to claim in Congo, which is completely wrong. It's even if you have to go by history, in the 1880, Rwanda was not existing, for example. It has never existed then. So how come they will have land to come and claim to Congo? So it means that there were a lot, in fact, there are a lot of claims that are false. A lot of claims, and then they are busy, trying to create reasons why they are behind this war. They have land to claim. Later, they will say it's minority groups, ethnic groups are being oppressed in the eastern part of the country. Sometimes they will claim that is the FDLR, which is the majority the Hutu, who are trying to be a threat to the Rwandan regime, and so on. So many things they are just claiming, but everybody has now known that this war is all about economy, is about the mineral resources that we have in the eastern part of DRC, that Rwanda is trying to siphon in, trying to come and create insecurity and terrorism on the eastern part of DRC.
All right, thank you so much. Honorary Chairperson, Congolese Diaspora in Nigeria, Dr. Via Kanumwangi, thank you for coming on to Network Africa.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
A move by the Sudanese government to introduce new banknotes and compel people to open bank accounts has boosted deposits on the army's war efforts. That's according to the finance minister, Jibril Ibrahim. However, some critics say it has excluded millions from the financial system. The army's two-year war against the paramilitary rapid support forces has devastated the economy, with the currency losing 3/4 of its value and half the population driven into hunger. Unlike in previous currency exchanges, in order to receive the new 500 and £1,000 notes, people have had to deposit their old notes in a bank and are then allowed to withdraw limited amounts daily, drawing funds from a largely unbanked society into the system. Ibrahim said the initiative, launched in December with the explicit aim of making funds looted by the RSF worthless, had been a success, though he did not give a figure on how many Sudanese pounds had been deposited. A source at Sudan's central bank revealed that the new notes were printed in Russia, one of the several foreign powers that has intervened on both sides. The RSF has called the move illegal and cited it as one of the reasons for forming the parallel government in territory it controls. Traders say the process has dampened sales, and many people still lack identification papers needed to open a bank account, while more lack smartphones for online transfers. Benin Republic's forces have suffered heavy losses in an attack near the border with Niger Republic and Burkina Faso. The National Guard's Chief of Staff, Colonel Feizu Gomina, reported that one of Benin's most well-equipped military positions was hit in the north on Wednesday evening. Colonel Gomina describes the position attacked as one of the strongest and most militarized, and called on military commanders to improve their operational strategies in order to counter security threats. The colonel, who called it a very hard blow, did not provide a death toll for Wednesday's attack, but the main opposition party, the Democrats, said about 30 soldiers had been killed in the Alibore region, although a security source put the death toll at 28. The country has witnessed increase in attacks in northern region. In recent years, these attacks have been blamed on jihadist groups based in neighboring countries. And Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara has indicated that he would like to continue serving his country as president, but emphasized that his party has not made a formal decision yet on its candidate for this year's election. President Ouattara, 83 years, was re-elected for a contested third term in 2020. He has previously said he would like to step down, but has also suggested he would need old rivals to also commit to withdrawing from politics. In September, the ruling party expressed its support for a potential Ouattara candidacy in the 2025 election, which is scheduled for October, but the official nomination and acceptance have yet to take place. And Guinea's government spokesperson says the country would hold presidential and legislative elections this year, more than 3 years after the military seized power in a coup. Under international pressure, the military leaders who took control in 2021 initially pledged to hold a constitutional referendum and hand power to elect the civilians by the end of 2024, but neither has happened. In a New Year's speech, Military Chief General Mamadi Doumbouya promised 2025 will be a crucial electoral year to complete the return to constitutional order, but no timeline has been submitted. The transition charter drawn up by the military shortly after the coup stipulates that none of its members can stand in elections, but a new constitution could remove this barrier. The government spokesperson Ousmane Diallo, like other Doumbouya supporters, has given his backing to the military chief's possible presidential bid. Mr. Doumbouya, who has since been sworn in as president, has reiterated on several occasions his commitment not to stand. In Nigeria, the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Wang Yi, has stated his country's commitment to safeguarding Africa's security and sovereignty by opposing foreign interference in internal affairs of African countries. Speaking in the company of Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Toga, in the State House, after meeting with President Bola Tinubu, the Chinese minister said China will provide Africa with a grant of $1 billion for military assistance, amongst other things. Mr. Yi also disclosed that Nigeria's wish to increase the currency swap agreement is being considered, and invited Nigeria to issue Chinese panda bonds for more favorable returns. Our State House correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
President Bola Tinubu arriving for the meeting with a delegation led by the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Wang Yi. After the closed-door meeting, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Toga, leads his counterpart to a joint press briefing. According to the ambassador, the meeting seeks to deepen the relationship between both countries.
Nigeria remains committed to the implementation of the agreements and MOUs, and also, of course, to, just like Minister Wang said, to ensure that we expand this upgraded relationship, which is the comprehensive strategic partnership.
The Chinese minister, in his remarks, touched on the financial cooperation between both countries.
这次会谈当中，尼日利亚朋友们提出来，希望 The renewal of the currency swap agreement shows how well we have carried out our financial cooperation and sustained its momentum. As with regard to Nigeria's wish to increase the line of the currency swap, we will favorably study and consider the issue. Our cooperation is going well in many ways in terms of finance. For instance, we welcome Nigeria to issue panda bonds in China because we have full confidence in Nigeria's credibility.
He also made clear his country's position on security on the African continent and the West African region.
China will firmly support Africa in safeguarding its legitimate rights and interests, practicing true multilateralism and not letting power politics and bullyism find their place in Africa. At the United Nations Security Council, China's vote will always go to Africa. China supports Nigeria in rallying countries in the region to achieve strength through unity, to build synergy through reconciliation, and to promote security through cooperation in order to achieve peace and stability in the region.
A position Nigeria supports.
So private military companies, as far as we're concerned, it doesn't matter whether they're from north, south, east, west. We don't think it is going to provide the panacea. But when you work with us, then we're able to lead others in solving the problem. And also, we want to work with countries like China in domesticating production of military equipment, both kinetic and non-kinetic. This is what we're looking for, so that we don't have to go out looking to procure, and there are delays, and there are, so many rules and regulations.
The Chinese minister is on a 2-day visit to Nigeria and is the first foreign envoy to visit the president this year. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
And staying with the Nigeria-China relations, the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs has concluded his meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the State House. After the meeting, the Chinese diplomat, alongside Nigeria's Foreign Minister, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, briefed the media on some of the bilateral issues that were discussed earlier. Ambassador Tuga had hosted Mr. Wang in his office, where he promised that Nigeria is committed to upholding the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding signed between both countries. The minister also pledged Nigeria's commitment to supporting the One China principle and assured Nigeria's continued support for China at the international stage.
Nigeria recognizes and appreciates the high-level visits between the officials of the two countries that have helped in shaping and strengthening this existing relationship between both countries. You will recall that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu paid a state visit to China from the 3rd to the 4th of September 2024 and was received by his Chinese counterpart, during which 4 MOUs were signed. Nigeria reaffirms its commitment to the terms of the MOUs, which are currently at various stages of implementation. Importantly, we formalize the upgrading of our relationship from a strategic partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership. We work together to elevate Nigeria-China relations to new heights. I'm confident that our deliberations will yield meaningful outcomes in fostering a brighter future for our nations and our peoples.
That's Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Joker Rogers.